It's my pleasure to introduce Stephanie. Stephanie Miller. If you've been around for a while, you've probably seen Stephanie because she was in our very first LRGF fellowship class. She gave her outgoing talk in 2022. And it has a really long title, and I'm going to try to say it because it's fancy. Analysis of laser preheating stage of maglev to increase laser energy coupling and validate simulations. And it's on our website if you want to watch it. Stephanie received her PhD from the University of Michigan in plasmas and nuclear fusion. And she went to NNSA on a fellowship, and she did that. And then she stayed at NNSA, and she's now the Academic Programs Coordinator and Program Manager for the Stewardship Science Academic Alliances, SSAA, another acronym if you don't know it, and the High Energy Density Laboratory Plasma Program, HEDLP, another acronym for y'all. So anyway, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome Stephanie back. So let's hear from Stephanie.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. And yeah, it's great to be back. So I'm just here, first of all, on behalf of the NNSA to welcome and congratulate all of you. This is a fellowship very near and dear to my heart as someone who is part of the first class of the LRGF Fellows. So, but yeah, who am I? So, as mentioned, I work at the NNSA at headquarters in DC. I'm currently the Academic Programs Coordinator, as well as the Program Manager for SSAA. And one thing I've learned about headquarters is that they love their acronyms even more than scientists, so I promise I will try to slow down and spell them out. But yeah, so I work in the Technology and Partnerships Office in Defense Programs. But today, I kind of just wanted to chat a little bit about what the NNSA is. I know when I came on as a fellow, I wasn't really sure kind of what the NNSA was, what it did, those kinds of things. Who's in leadership? I definitely got a false impression when I first started that the NNSA was for people with international relations degrees and public policy degrees, and I didn't really see a fit for myself as someone coming from a technical background, so that's something I would like to advertise to all of you all if you're interested in a career like that. What do we do in academic programs and community support, where you all fit within that umbrella, and then some opportunities for employment. I know that's kind of the buzzword now at the NNSA is employment, employment. So, about the NNSA, established in 2000, employs about 2,600 federal employees and over 60,000 contractors across the enterprise. Focuses on nuclear security in a lot of ways, right? So we focus on stockpile management, non-proliferation, counter-proliferation, counterterrorism, things like that. And where we like to think that academic programs and all of you fit in are in this adaptive workforce, which we consider part of our infrastructure, as well as world-class science and technology and engineering. So we call these here our mission enablers. So we all enable the mission to succeed. So a little bit about our leadership: Secretary of Energy, Secretary Granholm, our administrator, Miss Jill Ruby, Marv Adams, the Deputy Administrator, as well as my boss, Jaleel Hudson, who's the Director of the Technology and Partnerships Office. So just a quick glance so that you all can kind of maybe see and be inspired by the backgrounds of the folks who are in my leadership, my management chain. Jill Ruby was a former Sandia lab director. That was something that I was woefully unaware of when I met her. But yeah, so a Sandia tie there. But yeah, with a mechanical engineering degree. Dr. Marv Adams, he was a former Livermore physicist, was a professor at Texas A&M before he came to be the Deputy Administrator of Defense Programs, which is within the NNSA, handling stockpile. He is a fellow Michigan graduate and always likes to point out when folks are wearing Michigan garb in the office. And then my boss, Jaleel Hudson, he has a mechanical engineering degree from Howard, and he worked with the Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles and Cruise Missile Program, as well as in the Nuclear Weapons Council. And then I know we gave my bio, so I'll go quick, but when I've given this talk virtually, I like to have a photo, but now it feels a little weird for us to both be here together. But yeah, so I'm the Academic Programs Coordinator, as we mentioned, but yeah, an LRGF, and I did my residency at Sandia with Matt Gomez, who's in the audience today, and as well as some Omega EP experiments. So in academic programs, this is kind of our mission statement, but things that are really important to me in our office is creating this diverse base of national expertise. And that means diversity in thought, diversity in people, diversity in all kinds of things. We really are trying to, push our boundaries of who's currently included in our academic program system, as well as a new leg of our program, this community support, working to look at these underserved communities around the labs, plants, and sites. Within our portfolio, I've laid out the acronyms, but just kind of a quick rundown. So Stewardship Science Academic Alliance and JHEDLP, so that's a high energy density program. What those programs look like, we fund grants, centers, you all, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but then we have a Predictive Science Academic Alliance and CSGF, or the Computational Graduate Fellowship, another one managed by Krell. And then those all kind of look like graduate level research, right? So funding graduate programs, funding graduate research, funding graduate students. And then our MSIPP, our Minority Serving Institution Partnership Program, and TEP, our Tribal Education Partnership Program. Those programs focus a lot on curriculum development, so getting computer engineering degrees at a university that maybe doesn't have one there already, things like that. So kind of a holistic view of building the pipeline, as well as community capacity building program, looking at more community-based education programs and trades and such. So here's a map, really quick, just so you can kind of see we're spread out kind of all over with the students we fund, the universities we fund, just at a quick glance. And then where you all fit in, right? So the Stewardship Science Academic Alliance within defense programs, academic programs, I know a lot of words, but within SSAA, we fund centers of excellence. So some of your universities might have them, these large-scale multi-university research initiatives. They're 5 years, grants, a smaller scale, kind of one-off projects, 3 years, and then the fellows here. I always like to say my favorite thing we fund, but once again, I'm biased. But so these programs are in the materials, high energy density physics, radiochemistry, and lens, low energy nuclear science. So that's kind of where you all fit in the umbrella. So within this, I guess a little bit about like what I do in these worlds, right? So we look at reviewing these applications, we look at kind of budget management. I do a lot of advocating, right? So a lot of meeting with leadership at NSA to talk about the importance and to prep myself on all of the great work that our students are doing, that our researchers are doing, to kind of keep advocating that we get more and more budget, we get more and more support, all of those things. So whenever you get maybe what felt like as a student naggy emails about, tell us what you're up to, that's really important to me, right? So that we can be able to, show off all of the great stuff that you all are doing to keep these programs running. So the nuclear security enterprise, where is it? So a big thing about that I did not understand. Oh, there we go, sorry. A big thing that I did not understand as a grad student was kind of how large the NNSA is geographically, right? So initially I was like, oh, Livermore, Sandia, Los Alamos, Nevada, but I didn't quite understand how geographically spread. And I think that that's something that's really important when we think about workforce development, when we think about, the happiness of employees, right? When we think about where you see yourself living, where you see yourself working, maybe where your family is. So if any of these kind of geographic locations interest you, I would definitely, I'll be around the whole conference if you want to talk about specific opportunities at specific locations, but very spread out, a lot of places that I was not aware existed. I knew a little bit about headquarters, but now I know a whole lot more about what goes on there. But yeah, so I know probably most of you, hopefully most of you will be looking to take jobs at the national labs, but there's also a lot within the NNSA that maybe doesn't look like every day going to a lab. And then quick advice from a fellow, so as mentioned, as a graduate, enjoy the time with your cohort. A lot of my really, really great friends that I met in grad school are people that I met through this program. A lot of really excellent people who will be important to your network, not just professionally, but personally as well. Learning from each other, I definitely feel like this group in particular does a great job of communicating what they're up to, right? And kind of learning about fields that maybe aren't in your niche. This is a great space for that, a great venue for that. And that's something that's definitely really benefited me in my career. And then taking advantage of opportunities at the lab. So, I did my residencies at Sandia, but also did some Omega work, just kind of when, maybe when your advisor has a new idea or niche idea, exploring that with them, it can be a really great opportunity. And then I kind of have to also plug another fellowship that I did right after this one that got me into the NNSA. And actually, in DC, I don't know, maybe 2019, I don't know, don't quote me on the year, but was the first time I ever heard about the NGFP from a fellow SSGF turned NGFP who currently works, I believe, at the State Department. But she kind of plugged this fellowship. So it's a really great opportunity. It's 1 year at NNSA. You'll either be at DC, most fellows are in DC at headquarters, or at some of the field offices out at the labs. And it's a really great opportunity if you're interested at all in kind of the headquarters side, in the policy side, in the advising side, to kind of see what goes on at the NNSA. And it gets you a really good foot in the door, as well as just a really cool opportunity and experience. So if you're interested in all in this fellowship program as a graduate of both, I thought it was a really cool transition. So let me know, I'll be around. And then, yeah, I will wrap that up. I don't know how much time it took. I just did not look at the clock. Okay. But if anyone has questions or, wants to chat, I put my email up here as well. But thank you so much, and congratulations once again. Like I said, this is a great conference, and I'm really excited to be here with you all.